It is Thursday, the 24th day of February 2022. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining me on the 6:30 p.m. edition of News on my media, Prime Television. My name is Fon Quinter, beaming live from Douala, the nation's economic capital, and the news starts now. For 4 days now, government teachers in Cameroon have grounded all school activities, protesting against deplorable working conditions, unpaid benefits and salaries. The strike action has so far received massive support from Cameroonians ranging from entertainers and students who have taken up the hashtag in favor of these teachers. Nsungkikang with details.
The nationwide strike action launched by government school teachers of Cameroon has taken another turn, with the plaintiffs receiving massive support from Cameroonians online and offline. The teachers' grievances have been carried to the internet by Cameroonian celebrities and influencers, posting messages on their various social media platforms with the hashtag #CréMode OTS, on a trop supporté. Popular Cameroonian artists in the likes of Nsungkikang, X Malaya, Caresse Fosso, Marcel Kweche, One Love, Mitumba, among others, have declared total support for the angry teachers, emphasizing their important role in the society and the need for the government to heed to their demands. The protesting teachers have even received more solidarity from their students, who are equally feeling the weight of the strike action. The students of the government high school Banyo in the Adamawa region yesterday organized a protest march in support of their teachers with a placard bearing the message, "We want to attend classes." School children from schools in the west and other regions have followed suit, urging the government to quickly solve the problems of the teachers. Amid these calls, the teachers have expressed total dissatisfaction after a meeting chaired by the Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Nolinga, on February 22 to take necessary steps to satisfy the grieving teachers, some of whom have gone for over 10 years without any salary. Cameroonian government teachers have been on strike since Monday, February 21, 2022, grounding school activities, demanding for the payment of their allowances, complete payment of their salaries, advancement, and the amelioration of their general working conditions.
Another week-long largest economic gathering in Africa is ongoing at the Ewane Conference Center, with a variety of goods and enterprises being showcased. The business fair launched on Monday, February 21, has majority national refined products, as Center regional correspondent Khaled Lum tells us.
The largest economic gathering in Africa promotes witness an influx of persons in and out of Yaoundé and Cameroon every day since Monday 21st that it began, to purchase variety of made in Cameroon products and other African countries. Natural homemade is at the spotlight. Refined water fufu with gari from Kitunja in the northwest region cannot be undermined.
We deal with products, agricultural products like gari, as you have seen. We also have water fufu. It's rather unfortunate the error was there. It's just that it has just been bought and we have not sampled it. So we deal with women groups. We have cooperatives that we cultivate cassava and struggle to transform.
Health is wealth. It is in this regard that the week-long international business fair, which began on Monday in the nation's capital at the Yaoundé Conference Center, is characterized with incessant stands which focus on healthy lifestyle. Natural pap from the northern part of the country saw daylight as well. Finding out how transformative pepper and other natural produce can better serve Cameroonians for healthy living cannot be ignored.
I'm here at Promote because I want to visit all the enterprises that are present here, to see all the new innovations and to see in which sector or activity I can do business.
However, despite the rush of persons in and out of the Promote's ground, most Yaoundé inhabitants are not of the know such an avenue, the largest economic gathering in Africa, to exist.
Promote, I just got some information. I'm not much aware about it. Wow, I think it can be a good initiative because Sing is moderate. I know when they talk about promotion, it's about selling goods at a cheaper price or at the affordable price for everybody. And people get to discover items that they have never seen before. I think it's a good initiative.
I've been based in Yaoundé for over 8 years now. And I want to think that I've not actually heard anything about promo.
Everyone is therefore optimistic by the end of this business venture, the economic sector in Cameroon will generate more income.
The 2022 judicial year officially opened yesterday, February 23 in Yaoundé. Key points raised during the opening ceremony was the diminishing value of land certificates in Cameroon and the negative use of social media platforms. Katrina Kongwe completes the story.
The Supreme Court has appealed for legislative reforms to restore the importance of land certificates and land ownership in Cameroon. The court formed the high points of the presentation at the launch of the 2022 judicial year, which took place at the Supreme Court in Yaoundé yesterday. In a discourse at the ceremony, the president of the judicial bench of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Fon Quinter elaborated that land titles have lost values and going by the legal mind, despite the diminishing guarantees and grants any individual the right to own a land.
To rehabilitate the land certificate in Cameroon, it would be necessary to neutralize all the factors that diminish the value of a land certificate as seen above. It is urgent to rid the registration procedure of all the obstacles that undermine it.
The Procurator General of the Supreme Court, on the other hand, frowns at the irresponsible practice by some media organs and the ill of social media, which has created rooms for defamation, hate speech, a gross violation of the right of privacy, which globally threatens freedom and human rights. He used the platform as well to educate the public on the sanctions reserved for those who used the social media to disturb the peace and image of individuals. This event saw the attendance of the Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute and other top state officials.
An upturn is expected in rubber prices during the first quarter of the year 2022, according to experts. This comes after a fall in world prices, as Nolinga tells us.
Its report on the price index of commodities exported by the SMAC countries, which include Cameroon, Congo, Gabon, Chad, the Central African Republic, and Equatorial Guinea, BEAC reveals an upturn in rubber prices during this first quarter of the year. The price increase, according to the central bank, can be attributed to the recovery of Chinese demand and poor harvest prospects in Malaysia, which happens to be a first producer. It also comes after a 15.4% world price fall over the previous 3 months of last year. In addition, the composite commodity price index is based on the prices of 28 countries, representing 90% of the value of exports from this community area. Worth mentioning is the fact that the basket is furthermore broken into 5 main categories, including energy products, forest products, agricultural products, fishery products, as well as metals and minerals.
A gang of presumed share bandits apprehended by elements of JME No. 2 Douala has been presented to the press. The 3 suspects were presented to the public by law enforcement officials on February 22, 2022 in Douala, Nora Kakebi, with details.
A young man together with his sister were apprehended recently in Douala, suspected of systematically stealing rentable chairs and selling them. The alleged thieves were nabbed by the elements of GMA in Bonanjo following several complaints from individuals of their missing chairs which were rented out. The suspected bandits are said to indulge in the act of stealing chairs and selling them out to interested buyers, especially in the West region, where they seem to have a bigger market, and more so where they cannot be easily identified. It should be noted that apart from chairs, they equally steal other items which they store in a warehouse and inform their buyers of their new arrivals. The officer in charge of the anti-crime unit in Bonanjo, Christian Awa, explained how the investigation was carried out and the suspects arrested.
We received a complaint that made us understand that the Bonamusaji neighborhood a victim by name, a certain association lost a good number of chairs, plastic chairs. And from our investigation, we discovered that there was a transaction that was going around the valley. So we rushed there on the field in the day, and fortunately for us, we arrested a young lady who was in the course of selling about 10 chairs. She sold them at the price of 20,000. So from her arrest, we also had a second suspect who was in charge of cleaning the chairs, trying to wipe out the names and signs that we scrap the chairs. So from our investigation, we discovered that the area was a very important hideout that consists of a stock of suspicious items. So we maintain our guys in the same area. Unfortunately, around 8 o'clock in the evening, we caught the third suspect, Mr. Lonsi, who was in possession of about 190 plastic chairs that he was about to transport them towards the west region. The three suspects are here with us, and investigations have already proven that the chairs are stolen chairs, of course, and victims are already identifying the chairs. So the three suspects are ready to be taken to the judicial police for further investigation.
According to the security elements, they are determined to combat high crime wave in the region, and they are calling on the entire population for their maximum collaboration and support. Officer Christian Awa also advised that business people who own chairs and indulge into chair rentals must be able to identify the homes of those who collect their chairs. He added that this will simply help to trace them in case things go wrong. The suspected bandits are currently under police custody, gnashing their teeth while awaiting the hammer of justice to fall on them.
The first edition of Season 4 Impact Talks, a monthly leadership training session for top and middle management enterprises, an initiative of Go Ahead Africa Limited, has been launched. It was launched under the theme Taking Decisions on Stress, Situation and Smarter Goals. Lasha Kingsley was there. He brought back the following.
Research on decision-making shows our brains are wired to be more reactive under stress. This means that stressed-out managers and leaders resort to binary choice making, limiting the options available to them. It is within this backdrop that the first edition, Season 4 of Impact Talks, a monthly leadership training session for top and middle management of enterprises, focused on the theme, Taking Decisions on Stress, Situation and Smarter Goals.
We came and facilitated, gave some tips on when are the right moment to take a decision and what are the different options. So it's important to use our intelligence. It's also important to modelize, to make sure that, because life is a repetition. So if we have process, it will help us now to make a good decision. And one of the key elements is to know when you are happy, extremely happy, please do not take decision, because you might make promises that you will not be able to accomplish or to fulfill. The second time is when you are too angry, do not take decision, because you might take some decision or say things that you might regret. So it's important now to have a good management of our emotion. It has a huge impact on the decision process.
One of the greatest managers in Africa, Andres Yaka, guest speaker, took to the stage to lecture participants as well as share 3 landmark decisions he took when he was at the helm of Brasseries du Cameroun, GICAM, and the company he manages today. Many participants listened with keen attention as different speakers took turn to lecture them on stress management. One of such participants, a human resource expert, shares her experience after the session.
The take home for me is that, first of all, you have to know yourself. You don't need to have to make decisions when you are under emotions. You have to take a step back and reflect before moving forward. And also you have to manage, I don't know if you say stress in English, but stress is very dangerous when it is not well managed. That is the reason why you have to know yourself and then have a good lifestyle. That means eating healthy, having exercises, sleeping at least, for me, is 8 hours per night, and also making sure that when you are under stress, you find the root cause, because you have what we call good stress, and you have other ones that are not good. But when you are under this stress that is not good, you have to identify the root cause to ensure that you have the proper action to solve the problem.
Impact Talks is an initiative of leadership firm Go Ahead Africa, led by 2010 JCI President Fon Quinter. Impact Talks comes up every month and is held simultaneously on and offline.
Militants and sympathizers of the ruling CPDM political party have initiated activities to celebrate the life of late City Mayor Mutanga Andrew Munjimba, who was equally section president of FACO 1A. This was during an ecumenical vigil service at the FACO 1A Secretariat, as Kuma Honore tells us.
Militants of the ruling CPDM party in FACO division have bid a final farewell to their fallen comrade Mutanga Andrew Munjimba during an ecumenical farewell vigil night at the FACO 1A party secretariat. The candle lighting vigil brought together party militants of different ranks and files, all gathered at the FACO 1A party secretariat to bid farewell to the section president, who was snatched by the cold hands of death on the 5th of January 2022. Representing the senior divisional officer for FACO, the divisional officer for Limbe 1 subdivision, Inonsen Moninanje, described the late city mayor as a frontline politician, a philanthropist, as well as a statesman. The farewell vigil night witnessed the presentation of several eulogies in honor of the deceased. The second deputy city mayor of the Limbe City Council, Concho Emmanuel, said the passing away of Mutanga Andrew Munjimba has created a wide vacuum in the party, in FACO division, and in Cameroon at large. On his part, the permanent divisional delegation member of Central Committee for FACO, Franklin Guninje, described the deceased city mayor as a fallen icon from a cross-section of socio-cultural, socio-political, and religious backgrounds, which ended him the title of a Kukamdu, translated in the Mukwe language as a great man. On behalf of the FACO 1A section, the Vice President, Makaka Ludwig Manga William, said the passing away of their section president brought sorrow, pain, and emptiness to militants, friends, and family members. He called on the militants of FACO 1A to be more united than ever before, just like their late president, who was a mobilizer. The party's hierarchy was given the opportunity to lit 12 candles while paying special tributes to the fallen comrade, section president, and city mayor. The ecumenical farewell vigil was officiated by the parish pastor of the Presbyterian Church Mukundange, who called on Christians never to depart from their Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who is the way, the truth, and the light. It is worth mentioning that the late city mayor, Mutanga Andrew Munjimba, was snatched by the cold hands of death on the 5th of January 2022 after a prolonged illness, which took him to India for treatment, where he later surrendered to the cold hands of death at the Reference Hospital in Douala.
The lifeless body of a woman has been found in the Kangnam Central Mosque Kutabanon division of the West region. Sources said the lady, a widow identified as Mirenjem Rakiatu, was found in her own pool of blood yesterday, February 23, in the mosque. The chief of the village, alongside security and administrative authorities, have condemned the act. Meanwhile, investigation has been opened to determine the cause of her death and track down those responsible. And to sports, the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon have grabbed qualification ticket to the 2022 African Women's Cup of Nations outcome Morocco after defeating the Scorpions of Gambia 2-1 in a return leg qualifier in Banjul, Gambia yesterday, Wednesday, February 23. Eileen Summer with details in the following report.
The indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon emerged victorious in their second leg of the final round of qualifiers for the African Women's Cup of Nations Morocco 2022 after defeating the Gambian counterparts 2-1. This was thanks to the goals of Captain Gabriel Abutu Ongene and Kevin Osol. This comes after their 8-0 win over the Scorpions of Gambia at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium in Yaoundé during the first leg of the final round of qualifying matches ahead of the tournament built for July 2022 in Morocco. The recent success of the Lionesses of Cameroon insinuates that the dream of coach Gabriel Zabo is gradually materializing. The dream of the head coach of Cameroon's female football team since 2005 was to coach one of the national teams of the country, and now he dreams of winning the African Women's Football Championship as well as book a spot at the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup to be jointly hosted by Australia and New Zealand.
To our international page, at least 18 civilians have been killed after their vehicle came under attack in western Niger while Cyclone Amnati lashed the island nation of Madagascar, still reeling from the impact of another cyclone earlier this week. Details on this and more right ahead. We begin our tour on the African continent in Burkina Faso, where the party of overthrown President Roch-Marc Christian Kabore has asked the junta that took part to release him without delay or conditions 1 month after his arrest on January 24 in Ouagadougou. The People's Movement for Progress, in a statement, indicated that the party is worried and questioned the reason for keeping Mr. Kabore on the house arrest, who has been moved several times with increasingly harsh conditions of detention. The former ruling party also called on the head of the junta, Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henri Sanduago Damiba, to keep the commitments he made to ensure that the fundamental rights of every citizen are respected. On the day of the coup and his arrest on January 24, Kabore was placed on a house arrest in a ministerial villa in the Ouagaza district, where he had received leaders of his party and members of an international delegation. The release of the overthrown president has also been demanded by the United Nations, African Union, and ECOWAS. From Burkina Faso, we move to Madagascar, where Cyclone Amnati overnight lashed the island nation, still reeling from the impact of another cyclone earlier this month. The cyclone is forecast to exit Madagascar Wednesday night, but authorities are warning of torrential rainfalls. National weather forecaster Meteo Madagascar further warns of strong gusts, heavy rains and widespread flooding around the southern and southeastern districts after UN agencies had on Tuesday said they were preparing for the worst. Another storm cyclone Batsirai struck the island on February 5, affecting some 270,000 people and claiming 121 lives. We end our tour in Niger, where at least 18 civilians have been killed after their vehicle came under attack in a part of western Niger frequently targeted by rebel fighters. In a statement, Interior Minister Al-Kassoum Idatu attributed the attack in the Tilaberi region to armed bandits, about several motorcycles yet to be identified. He said 13 of the victims were from the village of Toni and 5 from the village of Tizegaro. For years, Western Niger has faced rebel attacks despite efforts of international forces deployed to the wider Sahel region to fight the armed groups, with thousands of civilians and soldiers killed, while 2 million people have been displaced. That report ends today's edition of Prime News on My Media Prime Television. Coming up at exactly 7 p.m. is Prime Hour with Kumlenat and his crack team. My name is Fon Quinter. Have a great evening in the company of more programs on the African Eye. Good night.
Like what we are observing with our MPs today, people think that an MP's role is to come and do micro project grants.